And in Baltimore today, two presidents and political powerhouses came out to honor Congressman Elijah Cummings, his life and his fight.
There's nothing weak about kindness and compassion. There's nothing weak about being honorable. You're not a sucker to have integrity and to treat others with respect.
And here is more of President Obama's eulogy for the Honorable Elijah Cummings.
As president, I knew I could always count on Elijah being honorable and doing the right thing. And people have talked about his voice. There is something about his voice that just made you feel better. You know, there's some people, they have that deep baritone, a prophetic voice. And when it was good times and we achieved victories together, that voice and that laugh was a gift. But you needed it more during the tough times, when the path ahead looked crooked, when obstacles abounded, when I entertained doubts, or I saw those who were in the fight start to waver. That's when Elijah's voice mattered most.
Joining us now is Congressman Lacy Clay from Missouri. He's a member of the House Oversight Committee, which was chaired by the late Congressman Elijah Cummings. Congressman, thank you very much for being here. I had a couple of longer interactions with Elijah Cummings on oversight. I did a documentary about the American swamp and the separation of powers and what was happening with Donald Trump and his conflicts of interest. And Jacob Soboroff and I had a chance to sit down with him twice. And he got extremely emotional. And he talked about his time being short and his desire to make a difference while he could. He talked about the separation of powers and the need for congressional oversight, especially right now. What was it like to work with him in these final months?
Well, let me first say today was a fitting, moving tribute to someone who was the chairman of our committee, who I got to know over the 18 years. And he embodied the decency of our humanity. He was compassionate and he was respectful to others. And he also embodied the fact that you can disagree with someone without being disagreeable, and you can be respectful of your adversary, and you can also have that debate and then also be friends with somebody who has an opposing view. So he was somebody that I truly respected, I learned from. We got to know each other over the years through phone calls, through hanging out in the members' gymnasium, and just about every vote series that we took on that floor, we took time just to catch up with each other, to talk about our families, to talk about our common experiences, to talk about our parents. And he embodied the decency of who we should all aspire to be.
There was that memorable moment in one of the committee hearings where Congressman Mark Meadows was accused of racism, and Cummings spoke very vocally against that and said they had been friends, and he defended Mark Meadows. So when you say he could be friends with people he disagreed with, there was one very good example of that. Tell me, how heavy was the job of chairman for him, chairman of the Oversight Committee in these times? He was signing subpoenas on his deathbed.
Yeah. Well, and he put everything that he had into that position of being the chair of the Oversight Committee. And you could tell it was a true labor of love for him. He understood the law. He shared his knowledge with us, the other committee members, and the Constitution meant something to him. and he felt like no one was above the law, and that's why when you are the chair of the Oversight Committee and you get a letter from the chairperson, that's usually not a good day for you.
What will the committee be doing to honor his legacy?
We will continue in the tradition of Elijah Cummings, of pursuing the facts and follow them where they lead us. And usually it leads you to the truth. And just like this impeachment inquiry, we will, along with the Foreign Affairs Committee and the House Intelligence Committee, we will be gathering the facts. And then once we compile that information, we will turn it over to the House Judiciary Committee for them to make a decision about articles of impeachment and to determine if this president and this administration have followed the letter, the law, or if they have broken the law. And so we will continue in the tradition of Elijah Cummings.
Congressman Clay, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.